Welcome back. Today we're revisiting abandoned movie locations once bursting with life, now left to rot in silence somewhere. What is your favorite movie? Please go and check out the original website in the description. 12 Monkeys. Eastern State Penitentiary is still a haunting ruin. Its cracked cells and collapsing halls, once perfect for 12 monkeys, remain abandoned relics of one of America's oldest prisons. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 2003. The Wahlberg filming spots sit quiet and unused today, with worn structures and fading props left to decay, far from the polished set they once were. Star Wars. The Tatooine sets still sit in the Tunisian desert, isolated and slowly weathering. Some structures remain intact, others fading under drifting sand as the abandoned outpost erodes. The Fugitive. The wrecked train and bus still lie beside the tracks in Dillsboro. The crash set pieces were never removed, left to rust quietly in the weeds since filming wrapped. The Twilight Zone, 100 yards over the rim. Joe's Air Flight Cafe, built in 1948, now stands vacant and sun-beaten. Its abandoned shell slumps along US 395, slowly drying out in the desert heat. The Patriot. Cypress Gardens still hides remnants of the fake Spanish mission and bridge left after filming The Patriot. The old props sit scattered and fading among the swampy trails. Stand By Me. The Burney Railroad Bridge sits unused and isolated, surrounded by quiet forest. Once iconic, it now stands as an abandoned relic over dusty ground. The Devil's Rejects. Captain Spaulding's house location sits empty on East Avenue. The surrounding land is barren, the old filming site left abandoned and slowly swallowed by the desert. Pirates of the Caribbean. Port Royal's film set still stands on St. Vincent, though much of it has deteriorated. Props linger in place while docks and facades slowly rot under the island's harsh salt air. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Curry, North Carolina farmhouse still stands, but shows heavy wear. Weathered wood and fading paint give the once iconic hideout an abandoned, slowly deteriorating feel. The Silence of the Lambs. Buffalo Bill's trailer once sat on Circle Street. Today the spot is empty, the area quiet and overgrown, an eerie reminder of a location left behind after filming. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. The old boiler room sits inside the abandoned Lincoln Heights jail, condemned in 2014. Boarded up, full of decay and asbestos, it's now a rotting shell of its movie past. Joyride. The Lone Star Motel in Wells has long been shuttered. Empty rooms, peeling walls, and a collapsing sign make it a classic roadside relic, abandoned to the desert. Twister. The movie's Roadside Cafe never existed outside filming and was torn down afterward. Only the lonely service station nearby remains, aging quietly by the empty highway. Lord of the Rings. Hobbiton survives in pristine condition, not abandoned, but preserved. The lush hills hide the aging bones of the original set, beneath constant repairs and careful upkeep. Big Fish. The town of Spectre remains as a collapsing shell on a private island. Empty houses, sagging streets, and abandoned facades that now feel more ghost town than movie magic. Full Metal Jacket. Kubrick turned Baekton Gasworks into a war-torn Vietnamese city, selectively destroying the abandoned site. Decades later, the derelict grounds still carry scars from the film's stage battles. Behind the mask, the rise of Leslie Vernon. Leslie Vernon's 1912 farmhouse still stands, but sits worn, empty, and forgotten. An aging shell slowly being reclaimed by Oregon's damp climate. Friday the 13th, Part 3. Higgins Haven once stood on Velusat Movie Ranch. The cabin burned decades ago, leaving only scattered remains, foundations, and a ghostly clearing in the woods. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Silver Shamrock's real building, a former 1893 creamery, has sat abandoned since 2010. Weathered and collapsing, it's slowly rotting into the ground in quiet Loletta. Cyborg. The old Ideal cement plant sits massive and abandoned on the Cape Fear River. Its crumbling floors and missing stairs turning the former Cyborg set into a decaying urban explorer maze. The Faculty. Zeke's house still stands in San Marcos, but sits in worn, fading condition. Its once recognizable exterior now looks tired and neglected after years of disuse. Westworld, 2016. The cantina at Velusat Movie Ranch remains abandoned between productions. Weather-beaten wood and dusted interiors give it a forgotten, left-to-rot appearance. Rain Man. The small roadside structure in Koger still stands, but sits weathered and neglected. An abandoned stop slowly decaying at a quiet rural crossroads. The Hills Have Eyes, 1977. Fred's oasis has been reduced to rubble. Only a chimney, broken foundations, and a collapsed basement remain from the once creepy desert stop. Natural-born killers. The 5-2 Cafe on AZ 99 is long shuttered, boarded tight, and abandoned. Its sun-bleached shell sits alone off the highway, untouched for years. Sleepaway Camp 2. The former Camp Waco is overgrown and collapsing. A few cabins, chimneys, and a vine-choked pool are all that survive as the camp slowly disappears into the woods. The Lawnmower Man. Harley's Gasser Up still exists, but is hidden behind heavy overgrowth. The 1924 station sits forgotten, its historic structure slowly disappearing under foliage. The Town That Dreaded Sundown, 1976. Texarkana Union Station's west side, used as the police station, has sat dormant since 1971. Its dark halls, locked doors, and silent platforms have been left to rot. Con Air. The Wendover pools have sat abandoned since the early 80s. Cracked concrete, empty basins, and weeds pushing through the floor leave the area in total ruin. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990. The old Ideal cement plant looms abandoned by the Cape Fear River. Gutted stairways, crumbling floors, and vast empty halls leave the foot hideout rotting in silence. Halloween 6. The Cottonwood paper mill used as Loomis's house in Smith's Grove stands abandoned and fenced off, its stone walls crumbling as nature reclaims the site. Ten Things I Hate About You. The Fremont Troll remains under the bridge, but the surrounding graffiti, erosion, and worn concrete give this once iconic spot a rough, neglected atmosphere. Easy Rider. The Lamaki Pueblo ruins, over 900 years old, remain empty and eroding in the Arizona desert. The site feels untouched, isolated, and haunted by centuries of abandonment. Sicario. The Wild Pony building in Los Lunas now sits vacant and forgotten, an empty shell with a fading exterior left to bake in the desert sun. The Hitcher, 1986. The dusty stretch in Death Valley Junction remains barren and abandoned. Winds still rip across the empty road, leaving this filming spot frozen in desolation. The Blair Witch Project. The Black Hills Forest remains in Seneca Creek State Park. Old paths, the fishing spot, and Coffin Rock still sit untouched, quiet and overgrown since the cult horror was filmed. Schindler's List. The replica Plashu camp built in the Crocus Quarry still stands, unused and somber. The abandoned set remains as an eerie, decaying reminder of the film's historical backdrop. Cabin Fever. The old Camp Raven Knob cabin sits deep on Scout Valley Trail, weathered and collapsing. Left to rot in the woods, the film's cabin now fades quietly into the trees. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Leon's Wild West towns were built in Spain's Tabernas Desert. Some aging facades remain, their sun-blasted wood and empty streets echoing decades of western shoots and slow decay. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. The Sawyer house at Sable Ranch has long been deserted, its dusty grounds empty and silent. Another horror landmark left to deteriorate in the California sun.